Yes!
Hello everyone, my name is Lisa and I'm the Viet Vegan because I'm Vietnam vegan, and today we're making a very highly requested, actually is it highly requested? People just want Vietnamese recipes. So here's one that is actually very vegan friendly except for the egg part, but there's a lot of egg substitutions that you can make. So today we're making bánh chiên. This is a type of Vietnamese street food that I grew up having whenever I went to Vietnam. You could sit on those like plastic chairs like really low to the ground, and because I was like really a lot heftier than most people in Vietnam, I was like low-key afraid of breaking them. Actually, I'm pretty sure I broke them one time. You basically sit on those little chairs and you have like a little metal table and you eat this like delicious, crazy oily street food that is like fried rice cake with eggs and scallions, and there's like fish sauce happening. Some people put like other vegetables on top. Some people put like pickled carrots and daikon on it. But I'm gonna make a very simplified version because I just feel like eating it, and yeah. We're gonna start with the rice flour cake. It's kind of like a 2-day process. The night before you have to like make the cake, let it chill, and then the next day you can fry it. Here we have 400 grams of rice flour. So this is like an example package of one of the flour packages. It has 400 grams in it. So you're just gonna use the whole package. I see some recipes online saying like use 2 cups of one thing and whatever, but then you're like you have like a half open package. Might as well just make the whole thing, you know what I mean? There's some versions that have different ratios of tapioca. I made a version last night. Future Lisa here. So this version that I made that I'm holding in my hands is actually much better than the version I tried from my grandma's. I don't know what it is. The texture is much better. I think the verbal instructions that my aunt gave me of my grandma's recipe was maybe not so correct because they kind of test based on like feeling versus, you know, actual measurements. So I'm going to go with the recipe that I have tested, and I actually really like the texture. So that'll be in the recipe that's in the blog post and not necessarily the recipe that I'm testing here. The recipe that I'm testing here, it's the same ingredients, just different ratios. That is 2 cups flour and then half a cup of tapioca. It's a little bit like spongier than I remember it being. So I think I'm gonna try my grandma's recipe, which is what we have today, but I'm gonna be frying that up later because, you know, times, movie magic or whatever. We have 400 grams of rice flour here. We also have 1 tablespoon of tapioca starch. So I'm gonna add that into here. Just make sure none of these slip behind. And then we have a half teaspoon of kosher salt. I've seen other people use like Knorr seasoning, or like they would use like mushroom broth seasoning. I don't really think that's necessary. And I've also seen people put like radish in it, like daikon in it. That's not the way that I grew up eating it. So you're just gonna mix it up. Just kind of incorporate that tapioca in there. So we have just regular water. I've seen some versions that like tell you to add 2 cups of cold water and then 1 cup of hot water, but then you're cooking it over the stove anyway, so I don't really see the point. So we're just gonna do 3 cups of water and then we're gonna cook it over the stove. The first cup is just to hydrate everything. And of course I wore black on the day that I'm working with flour. So it doesn't look like it's gonna mix up, but the rice flour will kind of like melt. You just gotta give it time. I would not recommend using your hands for this because it does not come unstuck from your hands. It's actually really satisfying to mix. Not gonna lie.
It looks like that cornstarch and water.
I mean, yeah, it's kind of like the same thing. It's rice flour, so. Non-Newtonian liquid? Non-Newtonian whatever. Where you like punch it, but you can also like sink your hands in it. I don't think you can punch this, but I get where you're coming from. All right, so it's still kind of like in there. I think I might pull out the whisk. This actually looks okay. I'm gonna even taste because I'm crazy. That tastes terrible. So I need about 1 tablespoon of oil. By 1 tablespoon, I mean 1 teaspoon. And then I just mix that in there. I've seen people strain this when they pour it, but I don't think you need to be that precious about it. As long as you stirred it well, I'm sure it's fine. So I'm gonna put this over on the stove, and I kind of have to cook like this because I didn't think this through when I framed the camera. So basically, you're going to continue cooking this until it starts to thicken up. You want it over like a medium heat. You don't want to get too crazy with it because you want it to cook up, but like steadily and slowly. I don't know how to describe the texture. You kind of want it to be like cooked like a putty, but not like a thick putty, like a gloopy. You want it to continue to be like gloopy, but not glompy. I don't know how to better describe that. So while this is cooking, you also want to oil a pan. So this is something that should fit inside like a steamer basket. So I'm using a baking pan, an 8-inch round baking pan. So I'm just gonna add about a tablespoon of oil. And while not panicking, definitely not panicking,
I'm not panicking. You're not panicking.
Nobody's panicking.
Oh God.
We're gonna turn that down. We're just gonna keep stirring that. Oh my God, that happens so fast. So you wanna keep doing this until it's like no longer liquidy. Make sure you scrape the bottom to get any of the cooked bits off, and you just wanna keep on moving everything over, you know? It doesn't look like it's gonna be food, but it will be, I swear. Kind of looks like cement.
A science experiment right now.
It's a process, okay? A lot of people have made this in the microwave, but I don't think I'm into that. So we're just about the texture that we want, where it's like no longer liquidy and like kind of gloopy, but not like glompy, you know? We've kind of reached glompy stage, but that's okay. It's fine. All right, we're gonna take that off the heat. That's the texture that you want. I can show it with better lighting. That's the texture you kind of want. So it's gonna be a little lumpy, but that's fine because it's all gonna be one texture eventually. But you just wanted it to be more solid and not as liquidy, so that you can steam it a little bit better. And then we're gonna oil this because this is where all that mixture is gonna go into. So you wanna oil it really well, otherwise it's not gonna come out and that's gonna be not a fun time. So oil generously. I used about a tablespoon in here, but I didn't really measure. We're gonna move all of her into there. Oop. Oh God, that was not the cutest shot. What a hot mess.
What's going on?
So then we just kind of smooth this down. So typically, what you want to do is you want to scrape this guy down. So you're just going to oil your spatula a little bit. All right. She ain't that cute, but that's fine. So then you're just going to flatten this down to like an even cake. So you want to oil your spatula so it doesn't stick. I've seen people do this like so smooth and so satisfying, but your girl is not that skilled. And honestly, it does not really matter. It looks nicer in the end, but again, it doesn't really matter. My hands are pretty oiled, so I'm just gonna use my hands. Wow, that's so much easier. Why did I do that the first time? Oh yeah, because it didn't look that great. That's why. For those who are asking why I use gloves, it's because I have eczema on my hands, and oil and food and frequent hand washing makes my hands not happy, okay? All right, that's much better. So then you have this flattened sort of rice cake. She's kind of hot. It kind of hurts to hold this, but you know, do it for the YouTubes. And then you're gonna steam this for about 40 minutes. So I'm gonna put this over in my steam basket, which is not on. I'm gonna turn it on. So I'll see you when that's done. So we're back. And you know this is done when it starts to pull away from the sides. So you wanna give it like an overnight time to set and cool. This is the other one. Now you have to coat this in oil because otherwise it's gonna stick all over. For anyone who's like, oh, I'm oil free. I'm sorry, this recipe is not gonna work without oil. It's street food, okay? Don't at me, okay. So you wanna cut these to like the same thickness that you like them. So if you like it really crispy, cut them kind of thin, so like a centimeter and a half. If you like them kind of thicker and more chewy, then cut them thicker. That's it. You cut them thin, and then you start chopping them up. So I'm just gonna chop as much as we're gonna cook up. This shape is kind of the shape that you want generally. This kind of weird rectangular cuboid. I don't know. So if you're not cooking this for a bunch of people, just cut about as much as you want to eat. The best parts of it are like the crispy bits anyway. So this is like one large portion, okay? So this cake, I would say the cake that I made is like 4 portions. What most people do is they take this and they put it in a bowl. So you want about like 1 teaspoon. Not like a ton, it's just for color. And that way it'll brown a little easier. So then you just mix her up until she's a little coated. It's not a very salty sauce, it's just for color. The one that my family usually uses is like an oyster mushroom flavored one. So then it'll be browned when you bring it in there. More oil. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So when I see vendors do this, they have they're in a cart. It's like a street meat cart, right? And then there's like a giant cast iron pan and they just have like hundreds of these little guys just chilling on there, frying, just ready to be eaten. And they have like a pool, like a puddle of oil where it gets to a point where they like scoop up the oil and like baste it basically. We're not gonna use that much oil. Oh yeah. Hopefully I've oiled this guy enough. I almost feel like I need to add more oil. We're just gonna leave it for a little bit and we're gonna fry until each side It's nicely crisped up, you know what I'm saying? Delicious. This kind of reminds me of like hash browns. So this is like the hash brown situation. And instead of having scrambled eggs on the side, you scramble the egg together. Normally, you would use 2 chicken eggs or, yeah, just chicken eggs really. But obviously, we're not gonna do that. I have just egg. For any of you guys coming at me for using just egg, I'm going to refer you to This Is Why I Guess I'm a Vegan video. I'll link to it in the corner. So you're going to use the equivalent of like 2 eggs, so which is about a 1/4 cup. And you're just gonna pour it on top. And normally this is where you would like break up the egg yolk and stuff like that, but we don't have that. That's not what this is about. I'm already scared because I've never made it like this. Cast iron come through. She looking like she doing cast iron. Oh my God, yes.
She doing all right?
She doing cast iron things, okay. Okay, so normally when you're way more skilled and you have like a bigger surface, what people do is they kind of like break this up and then they flip it. I don't have that kind of confidence, okay? We're gonna attempt to flip this in as big of chunks as we possibly can. Oh my God, yes! Yes! Oh, yes! Yes! Oh my God.
Stop.
I'm not even noticing what I'm doing. You can't stop me from being me. Oh yeah. What I've learned is the crucial component to making this successful is a lot of oil, okay? You see a little bit more oil? Yes? I know, it's a lot of oil. Onion. Oh, it smells so good. And then you just kind of keep this on top. And that's basically the gist of it, but the way that you eat it. So most vendors, they'll sell it with like nuoc mam. They'll either have like the fish sauce, the full-on fish sauce, or they'll use like a soy sauce version. So it's like soy sauce, water, and salt kind of together. It's not as salty as just regular soy sauce, obviously, because it's diluted. I think there's a little bit of sugar in there too. But I'm gonna use this version of the sauce because it's delicious. It has a little bit of lime, garlic, chili. I'll link it in the description down below. Then you just pour this on top. It gets nice and juicy. So normally there's like a little pick situation and like a fork that they give you. It's better when it's like hot off the cast iron, just saying. But that's mostly the situation. Damn.
Jamie,
You're not in the frame.
come try this.
Come try.
It's really good.
Jamie's Janelle's sister.
I was like, I'll just feed you.
Good, thanks.
Oh my God, it is good. That tastes like the soy sauce that Mom uses. Did it have vinegar in it?
Soy
sauce? Oh.
That's Mama's, you know, the sweet potato that she dips?
Mm-hmm.
That's what that is.
That's really good.
Bokjing. Okay, so with the tapioca, it's like really chewy. Normally it's not this chewy, like bouncy. It's kind of soft, but I kind of like the ratio of it. So I'm gonna post this version.
Actually,
I like the texture.
I like it too. It reminds me of fish balls.
Oh yeah. So yeah, if you guys want the recipe, I'll leave the link down below. Thanks Janelle for coming to film.
No problem.
Oh my God, this is so good. I'll link to other Vietnamese. I have like a playlist for Vietnamese recipes. I'll link to that. And if you want to see videos with me and Janelle, I'll link to those. Those are the Filipino ones. So yeah, that's the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Subscribe if you like this kind of content, this kind of cooking, food-ness. Like the video if you like it. And leave a comment down below. Let me know what you want me to make next at Street Foodie. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Have a delicious day. Bye.
Ew.
I mean, you can eat this like this. It's just not very good. Like, I'm gonna try this piece. Just rice cake. Like the comment. Not like the comment. Like the video. It was so beautiful, and I feel like I've ruined it already. No! Yes.
Cast iron.